Okay, good morning. Excuse me. I want to thank you for joining me here at our Bible study. Well, not really Bible study per se, but this is real Bible study. If you're joining us for the first time, I want to thank you for joining me here this morning. Shabbat Shalom to you all, those who are alive and those who will watch this recording in the future. So this is the ending of our series called Black History, What You Should Know According to Scripture. So for the past several weeks in the United States, February has been designated Black History Month. And what I always like to do is analyze certain words and terms and what it actually means today. If you've been with me for the last several weeks, we looked into the terminology, excuse me, the adjective typically used to describe a group of people. Now, black has had a negative connotation every time you hear the word black. Black has been designated a bad thing. For instance, you hear things like black magic, that's bad. Blacklisted, that's bad. Blackmail, that's bad. What else can we think of? Anything else? Blackball, yes, bad. So you see, the term black has in modern society a negative connotation, and when you put the word black in front of people, then they had to be bad, and this has been the programming, especially in Western culture. So as we took a look at the word and we look at where that term came from, a phrase or a classification given to a group of people called black. As you know, in the scripture, there's no reference. People are not referenced by their skin color. It's arbitrary and it doesn't make any sense. People are always in scripture called by their tribe or nation or tongue. And this is what the Creator did. The Creator did not create race, but however, depending on where you live and how you've been introduced into this world, you see people by skin color. But this was never the case before the 1700s. Yesterday evening I referenced the time period where classification of skin color became a thing. It's around 1785 or 1795, so about 200 years ago, 230 years ago, somewhere about. So it's a modern ideology to call someone by their skin color, and most people are not actually black at all. They're different shades of brown. You have mocha, you have dark chocolate, you have almond, you have all variations, caramel or caramel versions of brown. But no matter how or what shade they look, they're all lumped in as black. So we looked at the sons of Noah from scripture, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, where we looked at the lineage of mankind. So if you're watching this, you're a descendant of one of the three sons of Noah. You're either a Hamite, a Shemite, or a Japhite. So these are how the Creator sees people, not based on our modern terminologies, which we got from certain groups and has been programmed into our vocabulary and our way of life. So we look at all those things and we came to the conclusion that the scripture actually starts with people of dark complexion, not of the Caucasus from the Caucasus Mountain, or we call Caucasians today. That's also false information that has been promoted to the world through media, television, books, magazines, and what have you. So black history, if you want to call it that, is actually world history, because if you're a believer and you read in the scriptures, Adam, the first man and woman, were of a chocolate flavor, not vanilla. Okay, once you have that understanding, then we could move on and progress our learning of the scriptures, where we come to the prophets and the patriarchs and the Mashiach, Yahusha, so we can have real understanding of the scripture and not fantasy or make-believe or white supremacist viewpoints. Okay, so we're going to take a look, like I always like to do a recap on the books that I had mentioned here, excuse me, during this particular broadcast. So one of them right here, you can get this on Amazon. It's called From Babylon to Timbuktu. See it right here, by Dr. Rudolph R. Windsor. This is one of them. The other one is The Jew, a Negro, by Arthur Talmage Abernathy, PhD. So this is this gentleman right here. This particular book was written in 1910. I want to keep note of that, 1910. So the early, what do we call it, 20th century? That's that particular book. And one book I did not share with you is this particular one here. It is called The Jews and Moors of Spain by Rabbi Joseph Kruskoff. Hope I pronounce his name right. So this book is a series of lectures that this rabbi did in the United States. I'm just going to read the beginning of it here. This is page 2. Okay, so like I said, this is a series of lectures here. So it says here, okay, it says, I know not how others view the lectures, only I can speak for myself. No library is complete without a history of, he's talking about the Jewish race, and no history of that race for the period converted is more comprehensive, truthful, and impartial than that presented in these lectures. I think the book would find a ready sale in all thinking reading communities. So this is a letter from Arnold Kritzkel, judge of the U.S. District Court in Missouri, Kansas, April 2nd, 1886. So the first part of the letter, he says, this is Rabbi Joseph Kruskoff. He says, my dear sir, having attended a number of your lectures on the history of the Jews and Moors in Spain, and read such as I did not hear, allow me to give expression to my views regarding the same. Aside from the interests, the student of history must always fill in the part of that history which your lectures treat. The manner of treatment especially interests me. Relating historical facts too often becomes dry and irksome, and requires more than ordinary skill of presentation to make the subject interesting and attractive. In this you have fully succeeded by interweaving with the facts those matters that enliven the pictures. A knowledge of the social condition of a people and the relation of which they stand in their age enables us to judge and their worth and the influence they exercise. Your lectures as a whole presented a life-breathing social picture of the times and the people. So right here, here's the judge going to this rabbi's Ashkenazi Jew about the Jews and Moors in Spain. And this is where you find the word Negro. The word Negro is a Spanish word. The Jews were in Spain. They have been a people dispersed throughout the earth, and they've given several different bywords to go by. If you look at some people in Colombia, they'll call them Afro-Colombians or Afro-whatever, Afro-Cuban, Afro-Panamanian, Afro-Argentine. Wherever they're scattered, you find these people in all three that this professor lays out. And a lot of it, a good portion of it, is in this particular book right here as well. So a lot of his information, he cites Dr. Alan Gudsby's research on the Hebrews. So if you can get access to this one, you'll get this particular book Get it on Amazon. Hold a second. Make sure I'm not blocking anything. Could you see it? Make sure you see it. So these are the sources. Okay, these are the sources right here. So you could get this book on PDF online via this website. This is where you could go to get books that are not in publication. Go back as early 19th century, 17th century, and before that, called archives.org. Yeah, so this book, The Lost Tribes of Myth, it retails on Amazon between, depending on retailer, between $130 and in some cases I saw it as high as $15,000. The question becomes, why would someone sell a book for $15,000? Okay. So that said, let's begin. Let's go to my notes real quick. So I wanted to draw attention to this because it's important to understand history to what we have documented. And I was preparing for this, I had to look at certain parts of history that has been, swept under the rug for the obvious reasons. So while we were looking at these writers, these books were being written in different time periods, 1910, 1930, and this one here, this particular one, is 1895, 1886. Okay, so academia knew who the Yahudim or the Jews actually were because they documented it. So let's take a look at some information here. So the last documented lynching in the United States occurred on March 21st, 1981, when Michael Donnell, a 19-year-old African-American, was killed by members of the Ku Klux Klan in Mobile, Alabama. He marked one of the final instances of lynchings in the country, highlighting the ongoing issue of racial violence and injustice. So it says one of the final instances. Well, when I saw this, when I was doing my research, I said, I don't think that was one of the final instances. Now, though this was not, what I'm about to read here was not an actual noose around the neck, it's very similar. The dragon death in Jasper, Texas refers to the brutal murder of James Byrd Jr. on June 7th, 1998. So that's recent. Where he was chained to a pickup truck and dragged for 3 miles by 3 men, 2 of whom were white supremacists. This historic hate crime led to national outrage and significant changes in hate crime legislation, including the James Byrd Hate Crimes Act in Texas. So that's just in one state. Let's read this now. The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act was passed in 2022, March 29 to be exact, designating lynching as a federal hate crime and increasing the maximum penalty to 30 years in prison for such offenses. It was signed into law by President Joe Biden after more than a century of attempts to pass similar legislation. So for over 100 years, there were bills being passed to outlaw this, but there was no common ground in either the House of Representatives or in Congress. So this becomes very important to understand the mindset of a society. Now, you got to understand this. This is the same society that professed a faith that they call Christianity, a God that they believe in, so-called. Now, you have to understand that while this was going on for 100 years, there were Thanksgivings, Christmas trees, caroling, and all this good stuff. So it begs the question, who executes judgment for these crimes. Well, you won't get justice from the ungodly, but there's one who will eventually judge these nations for their crimes against the Yahudim. So this is the reason why it's important to understand, not just because you believe in a futile ideology called white supremacy, does not mean that you would escape judgment. Doesn't really work that way. So because most people don't know history, their ancestors took part in legal murder, legal public murder. That's what you had to call it. Legal public murder. It was legal. It was not illegal. It was actually well documented, and it was a wide held belief by many in the Gentile nation called the United States. So this is a familiar face to many of you. This is a African American actor, so-called. This is what the designation most of them go by, African American. Now he's in his 70s now, but his parents and probably his grandparents went through what we just spoke about there. So why that is problematic for those who are believers, who have a book that they call the scriptures, or you may call it the Bible. Here's why that is problematic for those who have those types of feelings towards individuals that look like the actor Denzel Washington. So because ignorance is a highly practiced skill in most nations, I want to read from the Apostle Matityahu, or Matthew, in your English translations. So now that we have the understanding of what history looks like objectively, we read the scriptures with this understanding. So here's what it says. Matityahu, or the book of Matthew. I'm reading from chapter 25 from verses 32. It reads, "And all the nations shall be gathered before him, and he shall separate them from one another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then the king shall say to those on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundations of the world. I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink." Let me repeat that again. It says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous shall answer him, saying, "Master, when did we see you hungry, and we fed you, or thirsty, and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger, and took you in, or naked, and clothed you? And when did we see you sick, or in prison, and we came to you?" And the sovereign shall answer and say to them, "Truly, I say to you, insofar as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me." What Mashiach, what the Messiah is talking about as the least, so these people, or people like look like this, are the least important Semitic people, or the Negro. So this is what he's talking about. So these righteous people that he set aside on the day of judgment, they asked the question, when were you thirsty? When were you in prison? When were you hungry? When were you naked? And we did these things. You see, they didn't know who Yasharel was. They were just doing it because they were genuinely righteous people. But they didn't know that the least of these that they did to the folks like this, they were doing it unto the Messiah, Yahusha, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So this is what he's saying. So those people did not know who Yasharel was. They were just doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. So this is how their righteousness was actually being tested. Because remember, you're being tested every day. Every day you're being tested. So let's hear of those who failed that test. So let's go to verses 41. Let's pick it up there. He says, he shall then also say to those on his left hand, remember he separated them, go away from me, accursed ones, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his messengers. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Was naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick, and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they shall answer him, they shall answer the Messiah, Yahusha, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not serve you? Then he shall answer them, saying, Truly I say unto you, insofar as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. So the least of these, so they didn't know, because you know this thing called skin color. Other people, this is what this is what they tell us. It's their skin color. It's because of the skin color that the government signed bills or delayed in signing lynching bills for 120 years because of their skin color now. So here's what happens to those folks. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life. So it does not pay to be, if you're a believer. Now, if it's the ungodly, if you're a believer and you profess that you're following someone who you've never seen and you call him Jesus Christ and you celebrate his birthday on December 25th, if you're one of those folks and you have internal issues with people that look like this, understand that the Mashiach, who you're going to meet, is not the Fabio or the Charlton Preston character that you see on the television in the movies. He's Semitic, like the actor Denzel Washington that showed you there. So I wanted to get that into your understanding. This is why many will not make it into the kingdom, because of the doctrine that the devil has propagated on most of the nations regarding people that look like that. Any nation you go to, they're disregarded, they're loathed, they call it, they're tolerated. That's the word. They're tolerated. You know, they're told that they can't go here, or they're not welcome there, or that type of stuff. And all nations do it, all. Whether it be European nations, whether it be Asian, whatever nation it is, once they don't look like these particular people, they all despise people that look like this. Even recently, two actors, I can't remember, I think it's not familiar with the older gentleman. It was, I think it's Michael B. Jordan and Lindahl. Not sure exactly. They were at some type of award show I was watching online, reading it online, and someone blurted out the N-word. You know, so these bywords or these words that they are called is not by accident. And it's one of the signs that Moshe spoke about, that would be a sign that there will be a proverb, there'll be a byword, and there'll be despised in all nations where Yahuwah Elohim would scatter them because of their disobedience. They did not hearken to his voice, so that they will be a blessing in the earth. But the good part is that because we live in these last days, if you're paying attention to the world and what's happening in the on a global scale, the prophets prophesying, I mentioned that in Ezekiel chapter 37, that there would be the dry bones will be rattled, they'll be woken up to who they are. And this is what is happening all over the world. So this is why I present like this. This is not going to be something that you hear in your mainstream Christian churches, because that's a different kettle of fish for a different time. So now I want to talk about their accomplishments by people who were told that they were inferior and everyone else seems to be superior. So let's take a look at some inventions that are currently used today by many people, but they don't know that these people that they despise are the inventors of it. So let's take a look at this. 26 black inventors that quietly run the world. I only chose 26 because of time. There's a lot more, but this is just a short list. Okay, so number one, write this down. The fountain pen, William B. Purvis. Yes, the fountain pen. Born August 23rd, 1838, died August 10th, 1914. Invented in 1890. Purvis improved the fountain pen by creating a self-filling ink tube system, making writing cleaner, more reliable, and accessible at a time when penmanship was central to education and business. Number two, GPS technology, Dr. Gladys West. Yes, that GPS you have on your phone. And back in the day, I think it was in the 2000s, when you had the Garmin, the GPS separate by itself before it became a part of your phone. Born October 27th, 1930. Died January 17, 2026. So that she passed last month. Developed in the 1970s and 80s, Dr. West's mathematical modeling of the Earth's shape became the foundation for your modern GPS system, Global Positioning System. Number three, the refrigerator, improved icebox design, John Standard, born in 1868, invented in 1891. Standard patent on improved icebox design that allowed food to be preserved longer, making early refrigeration more practical for households. So, thank you, Mr. John Standard, for the refrigerator that we have today. That's number three. Number four, the traffic signal, Garrett Morgan. See that traffic signal all over the world, the traffic light? Garrett Morgan, born March 4th, 1877, died July 27, 1963. Invented in 1923, the traffic signal. Morgan's traffic signal introduced a cautionary third position, helping reduce accidents at busy intersections. So, say thank you, Mr. Morgan. That was number 4. Oh, number 5. Peanut products and agriculture innovation, George Washington Carver. Born in 1864, died in January 5th, 1943. Now, I want to remind you, these dates that I'm calling, what was actually happening behind the scenes in American culture. Like I mentioned, people were being unalived legally while these people were inventing these stuff. So I just want to take you through that paradigm shift that you should have, what these people were experiencing. Developed in the early 1900s, while Carver did not invent peanut butter, his groundbreaking agricultural research popularized peanuts and introduced over 300 practical uses that transformed Southern farming. So, Southern farmers, we want to thank Mr. George Washington Carver. Number 6, air conditioning and refrigerated transport. Frederick McKinley Jones, born May 17th, 1893. Died February 21st, 1961. So he died before a lot of Fair Housing Act and Voting Right Acts. So this was what was happening in the social aspect of the world. He invented 1930s and 40s. Jones' refrigeration system made it possible to safely transport food, medicine, and blood supplies. Number 7, fire escape ladder. Joseph W. Winters, born 1816, died November 7th, 1916. Invented in 1878. Winters' fire escape ladder improved emergency exits for buildings, saving lives during urban fires. So, those of you who lived in those apartment buildings in New York City and around, those ladders that you see, yes, so say thank you, Mr. Joseph Winters. Number 8, railway communication systems. Granville T. Woods, born April 23rd, 1856, died January 10th, 1910. That was the year this book was published, 1910. Just to remember. Known as the Black Edison, Woods developed electrical and communication systems that made trains safer and more efficient. So if you ever travel on a railway system in the United States, from Amtrak to the New York subway system, you need to say thank you, Mr. Granville T. Woods. Number 9, the bottle cap. A.E. Long and A.A. Jones. Birth dates and death dates are unknown. They invented bottle caps in 1898. Their bottle cap design improved the sealing and preservation of beverages and food products. So if you drink a Coke or a Pepsi, you need to say thank you, Mr. A.E. Long and A.A. Jones, for that. Number 10, improved toilet commodes. Thomas Elkins. Born dates and died dates are unknown. Invented this in 1872. Elkins designed the improved sanitary commode, enhancing hygiene and waste management. Well, I don't need to tell you where you see your commode. Hotels, hospitals, and ashore in your homes. So, who do we thank? Mr. Thomas Elkins. Number 11, ironing board. Sarah Boone, born in 1832, died in 1904. Invented the ironing board in 1887. Boone's ironing board design was narrow and curved, making it easier to press women's garments. Obviously, you know, when you go out and you go to the hotels, you have an ironing board in your closet. You probably have one at home as well. So who do we thank? Miss Sarah Boone. Thank you very much. Number 12, the lawnmower. Who knew? John A. Burr. So next time you go to your hardware store, your Lowe's or your Home Depot or your John Deere, and you see the lawnmower, who do we need to thank? Mr. John A. Burr. His dates of birth are unknown, but he died in 1906. He invented this in 1899. Burr improved rotary blade designs, allowing lawnmowers to cut grass more efficiently. Number 13, the envelope seal. F.W. Leslie. His born dates and death dates are unknown. Invented in late 1800s, Leslie developed an improved envelope sealing method, advancing mail security. Well, for those of you who use the U.S. Postal Service or any postal service around the world, who do we thank? F.W. Leslie. Number 14, the pencil sharpener. John L. Love, born 1889, died in 1931. Invented in 1897. Love's handheld sharpener became a staple in classrooms and offices. Well, who has not used a pencil sharpener? So, who do we thank? John L. Love. Number 15, the pressure cooker. Morris W. Lee, born 1910, died in 2004, so recently. Invented in the early 1900s, Lee's pressure cooking design made food preparation faster and more efficient with energy. So if you ever watch QVC, infomercials with those pressure cookers that people sell for $39.99 and whatever price, but wait, there's more. Who do we thank? Morris W. Lee. Number 16, the fire extinguisher. Thomas J. Marshall died in 1927. His date of birth is not known. Invented in 1872. Marshall developed an early fire extinguisher system, advancing fire safety practices. Obviously, this is very important. I have one in my kitchen in case of an emergency. So, you should have one as well. Obviously, this is fire prevention. All firehouses have fire extinguishers in public buildings as well. So, who do we thank for this? Thomas J. Marshall. Number 17, the elevator door system. Alexander Miles, born in 1838, died in 1918. Invented this in 1887. Miles' automatic elevator door helped prevent serious injuries and death. Number 18, the lawn sprinkler, or your sprinkler system that many people have on their lawns during the summer months, sprinkling to keep that grass nice and green. Joseph H. Smith, not related to Joseph Smith of the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints. No. This is Joseph H. Smith, Negro. Born dates and date of death are unknown. He invented this back in 1897. Smith's sprinkler system improved irrigation and lawn care efficiency. One note I want to make here, because most people are not observant enough to see the confusion with names. Now here it is. You have Joseph Smith, the founder of the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints, and a Negro with the exact same name. How could that be? And this is how the Negro, or the African American so-called identity, has been removed from their memory, because many of them have Gentile names. They have the names, look at this right here, the exact same name of their oppressor. For instance, this gentleman here, his name is Denzel Washington. The same last name of the one of the presidents of the United States, George Washington. No relation, but they have the same last name. Let's move on to number 19. Programmable remote control. Joseph N. Jackson. Birthday and date of death, dates are unknown. Invented in the mid-20th century. Joseph Jackson contributed to early programmable control system used in electronics. So that remote control that you have in your living room, the programmable one, who do we thank? Joseph N. Jackson. Show no relation to Joe Jackson of the famous Jackson 5. Number 20, helicopter innovations. Paul E. Williams, his date of birth and death are unknown. Invented 1962. Williams contributed to helicopter design advancements used in aviation. That's Paul E. Williams. Number 21, the mop. Thomas W. Stewart. His dates of birth and death are unknown, but invented the mop in 1893. Stewart's mop design improved sanitation and cleaning efficiency. So the next time you pick up that mop in your kitchen or in the hotel or wherever you go, who do we thank? Thomas W. Stewart. Number 22, we're almost there. The folding kitchen table. H.A. Jackson. Date of birth and death is unknown. Invented this in the early 1900s. Jackson's folding table design maximized space and functionality in homes. So the next time you go on that summer barbecue and you pull out that foldable table, who do you thank? H.A. Jackson. Number 23, the guitar. Robert Fleming Jr. Birth and date of death are unknown. Invented 1886. Fleming patented a guitar design that contributed to modern instrument construction. So the next time you go to your famous concerts or your famous rock group, whether it be Van Halen or Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones, who do you thank? Robert Fleming Jr. Not that you should be going to this concert anyway, I'm just saying. Number 24, the mailbox. Philip B. Downing. Born and death dates are unknown. Invented in 1891. Downing's mailbox design improved mail security and weather protection. So the next time you walk out to collect your mail from your mailbox, who do you want to thank for keeping your mail dry? Philip B. Downing. Number 25, and we're about to close it up here. The doorknob. Who knew? Osborne Dorsey. Birth and born dates are unknown. Invented 1878. Well, everyone who has a home has a doorknob. So, without question, Dorsey's door design modernized household hardware. So the next time you open and close that door, your closet door, your front door, your back door, who do you thank? Osborne Dorsey. Number 26, shoe lasting machine. W.A. Dietz. Born and time of death is unknown. Invented in the early 1900s. Dietz's contribution to shoe manufacturing helped standardize footwear production. So, Black history is not a footnote, it's the foundation of everything. From the very beginning, Genesis chapter 2, Yah created man in his image, after his likeness. So Black history is not a month, it is the foundation of the history of the world. And right here, let me read what the editor has right here. Black history is not a footnote, it's the foundation, and these inventions are proof that Black innovation has always been essential, even when history tries to write us out. So there you have it. So I want to stop right there. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this edition of Black History, what you should know according to Scripture. So next week we'll reconvene again. Good morning. Next week we'll reconvene again for our Bible study. We'll be taking a look at the book of Matthew, a very important book. This is one of the apostles that walked with the Mashiach, that ate, laughed, spoke with him face to face. So when we read these particular writings, you would see, and we're going to line up what they say, the questions that were asked, how they were answered, and see if you are actually following the Mashiach, the Messiah, in what is called Christianity today. Let's line it up. Let's line up what the Scripture actually tells us versus what you are told in mainstream Christianity today. So next week, we'll look out for the reading. We're going to go by at least 4 to 5 chapters, and line by line, we're going to go through and we're going to pull out the meaning of the words, the parables, and the questions they were asked by him, the answers he gave, so we could line up ourselves in the narrow path. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining me here this Shabbat morning. So as we end, I want to say Yahuwah bless you. May Yahuwah keep you. Yahuwah make his countenance shine upon you. And may Yahuwah be gracious unto you. And may Yahuwah give you shalom, or his peace. Until we meet again next time, shalom, and have a good rest of your week.